Welcome to Spectrum Perspectives, real talk with parents, professionals, and autism advocates. With your host, Cindy Gellermini.
Hi, everyone. It's Cindy with another episode of Spectrum Perspectives. And today I have Mary Kay Deal with us. Hi, Mary Kay. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Cindy. Thanks so much for having me.
Now, Mary Kay, we met on Facebook. I've met a lot of new parents on there, mostly autism moms, but you're in the Down syndrome space, right?
Yes,
And so we're going to talk about that a little bit, but you're involved in spellers and
correct.
the spelling to communicate. So that's what we want to talk about today. All right. So we're going to start the interview the way I do with everybody. Let's go all the way back to your pregnancy. Tell me about your pregnancy with your daughter and how the diagnosis of Down syndrome came along. When did you
Sure.
find out?
Yes. So I actually had one typical daughter in 2009, and I went actually for my checkup about at 8. She was 8 months old, and I hadn't had my period. So they ran a pregnancy test on me. And actually, it was interesting because they called and said, "Oh, you're not pregnant. We're so sorry you're not pregnant." And I was like, "That's okay, you know." And I had my first daughter at 39 years old. So I was definitely in the older bracket for children. Anyways, so what happened was within like 3 weeks of that phone call saying I wasn't pregnant, I reacted to coffee, which I love. When I was pregnant, I didn't like the smell, and I literally knew I was pregnant.
Mhm.
So I remember the date. It was November 13th, 2009. We went in, and they did say, okay, you are pregnant, and they did an ultrasound. And I remember seeing Bella, just like her hand waving. And I always joked, she was like, I thought she was basically saying to me, don't listen to anything they're going to say in the next like 10, 15 minutes. And I had done the initial blood test. So now think about it, this is like 15 years ago. So I had done the initial blood test, and they have different tests now. But basically, the blood test was coming back, and it was saying, it's elevated for certain things. So when they did the ultrasound, they looked for the nasal bone, and they didn't see much of a nasal bone, but we got pulled into a room, which is what happens. And the doctor started proceeding to say, we have concerns that there's something going on with the baby. And my husband was just blindsided. And I knew, I just, on some level, I just knew. And I had to translate for my husband. And then the
How far along were you?
13 weeks. So
Oh,
yes, I
okay.
was 13 weeks along. So it was so odd a situation, because even so what you learn about Down syndrome, you actually have more hormones in your system. So it was so fascinating that they thought I wasn't pregnant, and I was pregnant, and I was even farther along than anyone suspected. But they had this blood work. They had pulled on me, and then they had the initial ultrasound. She was little, and the doctor they pull you into a room, and they really, this is going to be a hard one. They really expect you to abort, especially that early on. So back then, again, I'm a little rusty, but it was like 9 out of 10, moms do choose to abort. And
Right.
and I even spouted that off to someone, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And well, yes, they do. And there's even new tests now. So anyways, but so it was interesting because my husband was reeling with like the information. I was sitting there, and the doctor kept saying to me, "You have 4 weeks to decide." And I'm
Hmm.
like, decide? And I sat, and I didn't even look at my husband. I looked at the wall, and I remember this guy. I can't remember his name, but he had these, snazzy glasses on, all this stuff. And I pulled away from the doctor, and I looked at the wall, and I said, "I don't need 4 weeks." I said, "We are keeping this baby." And he got in my face a bit. "Well, why would you do the blood test? Why would you?" Oh yeah. And this is a very, to my moms that have kids with Down syndrome that knew before the baby was born, every one of us sadly have a story like this. And so that's kind of unique a little bit in my story. But basically, he left the room, and I'm full 100% Irish. I mean, I looked at my husband, I said, "That guy doesn't come near," and we fired all of them at that moment. But I was like, "He doesn't come near me in the delivery room." Anyways, long story short, we switched doctors, got to a high risk doctor, and he ran everything on me. I did not do. Oh, that was the other thing. actually after this, I got a phone call from another OB in the practice because it was a big practice. And he said, it pressuring me to get the amnio. I'm like, what? I don't want a needle. I know it is different now. I know it's changed, but I don't want a needle in my belly. And I didn't want it. I knew somebody that lost a baby that way. So, and my husband agreed. And my husband, after that initial meeting, came home and he's like, what would I do if you didn't want her? And we didn't know she was a her at that point. And I said, really, I mean, I don't know what you could do, but luckily we hadn't really discussed it. I like what we would do, but she was ours. She was coming. And so basically I got to the right pediatrician. They run a lot of, you're kind of under the microscope when they know this. And actually, I have to say, she was lining up, there's trisomy 18, which is a difficult one. And I was lining up for that. And then when they did the 20-week ultrasound, she has like shorter arms, legs. They have certain soft markers, they call it. Basically, she lined up perfectly. And the doctor was fairly 99.9% sure she would be born with Down syndrome. And she was. But it was like, let's get the information. And that's what I wanted. It made for a stressful pregnancy, but I dove into Down syndrome research. So that colored the early part of her life. I was looking at Down syndrome, and it was interesting because, well, I did have some problems before the delivery. I went on bed rest because we went on the tour of the hospital because we went to a different hospital with a higher NICU level, like a level 3. And the nurse took one look at me and she's like, something's going on. So I was contracting. So I went on bed rest. So that was like 32 weeks. And they're like, we don't want this baby coming early. So, but I have to be honest, her delivery was beautiful. Like I was euphoric because I knew she had Down syndrome and she was like this beautiful little butterball to me. She was so cute. And my husband had his own journey, but like literally I had the best labor nurse. She was like, the nurses want to see her. Like it was really ended up being what I had hoped, So, but, so she did have some things pre-birth. Oh, the other thing is they check out the heart. Now she does have some, anomalies, what do I say, but not anything serious. So she looked good. She really looked good. And I think Darcy Day brought this up. There are tons of medical issues, potential, and just some of our kids struggle. And I'll introduce more information that I learned later. But bottom line is she came out. Now, she went into the regular NICU, and then we did end up going in to the special care, and she was the first bed, and she spent 5 days there. So they were worried about her breathing a little bit. But honestly, so many concerns, and like she breastfed everything. She was such a great baby. But it is different. And I had the benefit of a typical, and my first daughter was 4 weeks early, but Bella came after I did bed rest and all that, she came at 38 weeks, and really just a good pregnancy. So out of the gate, we were doing fairly well, but I could be prepared. So one thing I do want to bring up, because I do want to make this point, I dove into research. It was very, it was a stressful pregnancy, but I got onto babycenter.com, which probably don't even know about. Babycenter.com was what predated like Facebook groups, right?
What is it? Babycenter.com?
Babycenter.com.
Okay.
And they call it a listserv. I got in with all these Down syndrome mamas. Okay. So something that I'm going to mention a few things and I'll explain what they are, because it is kind of specific to the Down syndrome world. TNI, it's like a vitamin therapy. Oh my gosh, nutrition intervention. Oh, targeted nutrition intervention. So with these kids with Down syndrome, there's a group out of the USA, Dixie Lawrence and her folks, and then there's a Canadian version of it. They're basically, do you know what epigenetics means? It's basically like using supplements and food to help mitigate what that extra chromosome is doing. Because you got to realize these kids have a full extra, and it's mine after much research. Typically, okay, so let me explain this. Sorry, I'm going to explain a few things. Down syndrome, there are 3 different forms. Okay. There is the very initial splitting, of the eggs, it took my extra chromosome on that 21st. Okay. That's the most common. But then there is one translocation gets passed down, and then there's something called mosaic, which we all kind of want mosaic because it means every cell does not have the extra chromosome, but they have similar traits and whatnot. But you don't really know that. But she was just standard. She's the only one in our family. And basically it just happened at conception and the splitting of the egg. So anyway, that's kind of the standard thing. And you get something called a karyotype, and but I mean, and she looked different. She did. I mean, and we knew how short her little nose was. So cute though. I mean, like, so I don't know. Like, I went through so much during the pregnancy. The Down syndrome, like, it was there, and I don't know. I was euphoric. I was so happy she arrived because you can have a stillbirth. You can have, anyways. So yes. And then I had a typical, all they've ever known, they're only 60 months apart, is each other. So yeah, the typical kid and then Bella, and it just, I don't know. It made for an interesting progression. But when I got into this baby center group, I met all these moms that were looking at Down syndrome and said, what can I do to make her development as typical, let's say typical as possible, or get her anything to reach her full potential. Okay. So we then transitioned, I think 2009 or so, we got into all these Facebook groups. So there is a group of us, and these moms, I cannot stress enough what they have done. And it just kind of set us apart from like just accepting what we've always heard about Down syndrome, right? So we did a lot with food, supplements, and then the other part of this was Bella's 6 months old. I know I'm kind of going long-winded on this, but Bella was 6 months old, and I hit this part, and she was doing well. She's definitely delayed, and we'll get into that. But basically, I found this woman, Australian woman, midnight, some evening when she's 6 months old. She wrote a book called Naturally Better Kids. Kristen Morrison, her son has Down syndrome. He's fantastic, Griffin. And she actually has a mom friend, Geraldine, Spice, I'm going to pronounce her name wrong, but she runs the Down Syndrome Action Plan group on Facebook. Well, I got the book and I poured over it, and I just started pursuing things. But the big thing, I don't know if you know this with Robbie or any of your experiences, Glenn Doman, this is out of the 1950s. He wrote a book. There's several books, but what to do about your brain injured child. And Down syndrome, really, we treat it like a brain injury. And he met a man out of Brazil, Dr. Veras, whose son was injured in an accident, a spinal injury. He got his son to the institutes in Philadelphia, and they have a program. It involves, like, have you ever heard of patterning, crawling? I mean, this has been around forever. There's an intellectual academic piece to it. There's a physical piece to it. So when I read Kristen's book, Naturally Better Kids, you can get a copy of it. I got my mom, Bella's like 2 years old at this point. We go to Philadelphia for a week, and we take this What to Do About Your Brain Injured Child. And what's fascinating about this is we spent a week, and it was tough. It was a lot of information. And you kind of go home with a home program. We do a ton of crawling. We do the monkey bars. Again, we weren't rock stars at it, but we did it, and I learned a ton about brain development. So the idea is integrating the reflexes, like you've heard that, primitive reflexes, all the things that a kid with Down syndrome or any type of brain injury, cerebral palsy, anything, they're going to struggle or they're going to miss in those typical things. So what happened, I met a bunch of people, and what's interesting is there was a presentation, and a non-speaker, I can't tell you the diagnosis, got up on stage and he did spelling, but he did their version of spelling. So and I'll get to how I jumped into the spelling, but when I got into that, I had friends from that class. They're like, Mary Kay, we did spelling in the institutes, the what to do about brain injury. I'm like, you're right. But I never thought Bella could do it. I don't know why, but we did a reading program. That's another big part of it. You do flashcards and fast flash. And I had words posted all. I'm actually surprised I don't have any left. I had words all over the house. And anyways, so that's the first part of our story. I don't know if you have any questions about that.
How old was she when you went to this and this?
So I went with my mom. So she was probably, okay, so let me think about this. Kristen's book I found at 6 months old.
Right.
I was already connected to this group that was doing the vitamins and doing these programs. It's called a neurodevelopment program, but it really stems out of, I feel like Glenn Doman was really the start. But there's a lot of different programs now that do it all across the country, across the world. She was about 2. I suspect she was about 2, took the class, and we took her back in 2013. So she was born in 10. So she's about 3 years old. So we never did.
So where you saw the people spelling,
that was
an event?
At the class. So I'm in this class for a week with my mom, and we are like literally learning the program, learning everything about brain development, learning the academic piece, the physical, the running, all this stuff. So
This is a class for parents?
Yes, this was the class for parents. So I didn't take her there yet. That was a year later. So, and there's different levels, and I never did the full blown, like Geraldine and Kristen. I mean, Kristen Morrison traveled from Australia. Amazing, amazing stuff. But it was like nutrition, it was physical. But there was a young man, and I've said to my mom, do you remember that? And she's like, yes. And it was a card, and it was letters, and yep. And he was reading. And so much, I've had so many dots connect over the past, through the spelling experience back to that time. But I knew Bella was, okay. So we came home and implemented that program. And I'm still following all these moms that are rocking it. And, trying to do the diet and everything, but I'm going to get to that anyways. So bottom line is she's developing, and she was a late walker, but I had her crawling because that's all brain development. So I actually threatened my family. I'm like, do not pull her up to walk. I don't want her walking yet. She's got to crawl. And then we did the fast flash. That was probably the big things I was better at. We had a crawling track. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's in the books. My dad built it. We built the monkey bars. I had like a therapy session I was stay-at-home mom at this point, but we passed around this crawling track. I have all the moms put the kids' names. It's gone around all around locally.
Oh, cute.
I've given it because I want people to try it. Yeah. So it puts them in a version. It uses gravity to help them, because Bella couldn't, like, she army crawled for a long time.
Yes.
The belly, she didn't have so they have low muscle tone.
Yeah.
They have a lot of different things going on. But I was so inspired by this Griffin in Australia, and Lucas is the boy, Geraldine's son. And then we were all getting together and sharing different ideas, and we were dealing with different medical things or food things, or there's a lot of different things you deal with. Anyway, so it started on Babysitter. We moved to Facebook, and I'm in this group, and I'm kind of building up. I'm kind of laying the foundation, but I'm building up to where I'm going. And I'm doing it, but here's the kicker. Bella is doing well. I'm not saying she's doing well. She was not talking at all. I had no speech, and we had the ear infections.
Yeah.
And we had the eczema, and we had constipation, and I'm seeing all this. And I'm like, what's going on with my kid? Oh, Down syndrome. Oh yeah. So I'm doing the Institutes program, and we did take her there, and that was all
Did
fine.
you put her in school? Did you put her in early intervention?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So back up to that. So I know we have early intervention. It's called It was called Help Me Grow. I don't know if it's still called. So they're coming, the speech therapist, the OT, she got everything to the house, and we did all that. I had to fire some of those people, because some of them I didn't, and I'm telling them what I'm doing. I had a great PT who got it. She knew about reflexes and integrating and all that. So I did have people, some that got it, some that were really good, and some that weren't, and some people interested, some maybe just humoring me. I was telling the pediatrician, all that. So we're going on with that. And then it's 2014. And one of the moms in this group, we are figuring out our kids have apraxia of speech, and we're calling it apraxia of speech.
Wow.
It took me 4 years to get that diagnosis. And we, like Darcy tells people now, and you don't need the diagnosis, but back then I had to have a reason why is she not talking at all. Because that, like, it is a percentage of the kids with Down syndrome, but a lot of them talk. It might not be understandable, but they're talking. Yes. And all my friends' kids, I mean, Griffin has wonderful speech. Like, a lot of them have pretty good speech. And I'm like, God, something's wrong. Something's wrong. So it kept driving me. It just didn't stop. So let me bring up this story because this is important, I think. Mm-hmm. So the Down syndrome community, very loving, joyful, big supportive group here in Cleveland. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. They're very welcoming. They get you lined up with stuff. They know what you're going to need. So I'm going with that. I'm going to the little sessions they have and everything. And the welcome lady has a kid with autism and a separate kid with Down syndrome. And then a typical. And she's lovely. So this is me. I am curious. Not curious enough, though. You're going to learn. I'm curious. And I'm like, I say to her, I go, Lori, you're the only person I can ask this. I go, why does the Down syndrome community seem so happy? And the autism community, they're angry. And she had the best answer for me. And I should have really thought about it. I accepted it, but I should have thought on it more. She said, Mary Kay, she said, the Down syndrome community feels like, it's genetic. It just happened. But she said, in the autism community, there's a portion that really feel like the medical community did a disservice to their kid, that harmed them. And I said, really? And she said, yes, that is the difference. But you know what? I had a curiosity about the autism community. Okay. So keep that in the back of your brain. Mm-hmm. So I'm with all these Down syndrome moms. I've got my tribe. A lot of their kids are doing great. Mine's doing pretty good, but there's a few of us, they're not talking. And we are like, this is not good. And you're like, same thing you heard probably 5, 6 years old. They got to have a speech. I was hearing the same things. I was getting stressed, and she was getting sicker. She was getting sicker. So in roles, have you ever heard of Gemini? It's Gemini. It's a tool, and it is it's called a video monitoring or video modeling. I'm rusty on some of this stuff. Video modeling tool. And it's videos that you subscribe to a website and you have your kid watch. Now, I did not, per the institutes, I didn't have Bella on technology. Actually, both my kids in the beginning, it's changed now. They were not on technology, okay? So this autism mom developed something called Gemini. She has, she has autistic kids on spectrum. And one of our Down syndrome moms finds this. And she's like, you guys got to look at this. So I'm like, huh. So I start looking at this and I'm like, I'll sign up. I'm going to try this with Bella. And it literally very simple, repetitive, because with apraxia, we are always taught you need repetition. So it's showing the mouth, and I'm projecting it on the TV, and it's going along with the dome and stuff. I feel like it's a part of this. Like, she's watching it, and I see it cracking open the door on speech, and I'm like, there's something to this. So one of my friends who's already busy with all the Down syndrome boards, like, Mary Kay, you should approach them and start a user board on Facebook. And I'm like, I'm staying at home. My kids are going, Bella can go into public school at 3. We do have good public schools. The public school has done well by my kids, I can definitely say. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I can do this. So my oldest Maggie, she's in school, and I basically approached the owner, Laura Kaspar, lovely person, lovely family. And I say, Laura,
the owner of what?
Gemini, this Gemini video modeling tool. And you can Google it and you can see her interviews and whatnot.
Don't you have a page on Facebook that's about this?
Yes, Gemini. Yep. Yeah. And it's 2 eyes in the middle. That's right. The key. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the Down syndrome mom's like, we're embracing it. So I approach her and she says, Mary Kay, why, I already have a Facebook board. Why would I need like a user board or whatever? And I'm like, moms are not going to talk on your public board. We are not going to talk on your public board. We need a private board. She's like, really? And I go, can I just make one for the Down syndrome moms that are using for Gemini, that are using Gemini? And she goes, yes. So Cindy, I mean, it's like a couple weeks and I'm getting people on and we're talking and we're sharing videos. Because the other cool thing about their thing is you could upload your own videos, you could share. Like there's a lot of really neat things about this tool. And I'm seeing it crack a door open on speech for Bella. And she comes to me and she's like, oh my gosh. Because what she was doing was anybody who was signing up and subscribing, they were sending to me. Well, she says, are you willing to open this up for beyond Down syndrome, for autism, cerebral palsy, anybody with apraxia that would use this video modeling tool? I said, absolutely. Everybody's welcome. Everyone is welcome. Well, I don't realize how much time it's going to take. And I am locking this down as best I can because I don't have a ton of time in it. You have to, I don't know if you've had a Facebook board, but you have to monitor.
Yeah, you have to monitor. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had some doozies up or so.
Yeah. I was going to say, you got to watch out for the kooks.
Yeah. So, but what I think I'm doing to help, and I'm not getting paid. My husband's coming in and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, you're not getting paid for that. I'm like, I know, but this is, I like, again, like how many times do we have God just dip into our world and say, do this? And my friend, I didn't find it. Another friend found it and she's like, can you do it? I'm like, sure, let's do it. And the moms, we're all sharing and all this stuff. And then comes in my Southern Belle Angel and she joins Cheryl, and hopefully she's okay. Cheryl Bailey, who you now met. I'm gonna get chills. It's 2015, and Cheryl,
and which I was talking to her about doing an interview with me, and then
one day,
and then now her son is with Robbie.
Yes,
wasn't expecting that.
And actually, I want to say this too. I'm here to honor Robbie, to honor John, to honor JP. So many of you have touched my life. So Cheryl Bailey comes in and she starts talking, and then Cheryl Bailey
on the page,
and she's talking about her son. And I am like, Casey, you interviewed, I have a heart. I love little kids, but there's something about these older kids. I have a heart. Like I fell in love with John. I call him Big Brother John. And Cheryl is an amazing writer, as you have, I think you've been exposed to. And she's been in this for decades. And she starts explaining her son. And I'm like, she's mentioning things he's doing. And Bella is stimming. And Bella is got like skin issues. And Bella's got ear infections and the snot. And I'm kind of being blown off by the pediatrician. And I just messaged her. And I said, Cheryl, my kid, we took Bella to the Cleveland Clinic. Spent a bunch of money. No, she does not. She is not on spectrum. The Cleveland.
Oh, I was gonna ask you.
We did have her
diagnosed.
Yes, we did. And my husband's like, "Why are we doing this?" I'm like, "Because if she has autism with Down syndrome, you don't get the same. You get different things with autism than get with Down syndrome." And I said, "We need to do this because I'm seeing traits that she has, and no, she is according to them, whatever." So I was like, "Okay." So I said, Cheryl, I just have to ask you. I go, I'm a Down syndrome mom, and Bella, is younger, but you're talking about John, and I've got some similarities here. And I start telling her what we're dealing with. And at this point, it's 2015. Oh, and I want to add, Cheryl took on an older group for Gemini. That's still kind of out there. Our groups aren't as active, and mine's changed, which will become important later. And she took that on. So we were kind of like admins, and the company was loving us because we were helping, right? And they were very kind to me. They sent me a little tiny tablet thing for Bella. Like they were very generous, very kind. I was treated very well. But I didn't want to work for them. And I didn't want to work. A lot of our Down syndrome moms did work for them and had a good experience. I it wasn't the time. It was okay. So I contact Cheryl, and when I'm telling you, this woman is an angel. She is an angel. And she took my hand, and it was very hard to hear. And I said, something's wrong with Bella, and I know it. And she said, you're right. What's happening? And I tell her, and she goes, and you've got her on the diflucan, and you've got her on this med. And I came home from a vacation, and another ear infection, more antibiotics, thrush in her mouth. And I lost it. I knew it was wrong. And Cheryl said, well, she's got heavy metals. And I'm like, heavy metals? Like what? Lead? Like, do we have lead paint in her room? She's licking the wall. She said, no, honey, you injected it into her. I said, what? What did I do? And I lost it. And what you'll learn about me specifically is let it hit. Let it hit. I know it's the truth. I knew it in the second she said it. And I had warnings. I had warnings I didn't listen to. And I lost it. And I said, what do I do? And she said, okay, we're going to take her off the pharma. Another mom, states away. I've never met to this day in person. She held my hand. She had her own stuff going on. She didn't need to take time for me. She didn't know me. She said, we're going to work on detoxing gently your daughter and try to get some of these out of her system and heal up her gut. So that day changed my life, and I believed her. I knew she was right.
A lot of people wouldn't.
Yeah.
A lot of people would just write that off and say, oh, you're one of those.
Yes, exactly. So I will say to this day, how do I thank you, Cheryl? How do I thank you? She goes, you just did. You listened. And guess what I say to people now? You just did. You listened. But not everyone can listen. And not everyone can let that dagger. I held my kids down. I chased my kid. Hep B has 250 micrograms of aluminum. Bella had a dilated kidney, very common in Down syndrome. They hit her hard with antibiotics for 2 weeks. She was shredded. Her guts were shredded, and I didn't know it. But I did, and she's 5 years old at this time, and there's no speech. And that started a friendship, and it started a path. And when you talk to Cheryl, you'll learn a lot. And she met Glenn Doman. She met these people that have been working so hard, and every single person on the planet needs to honor these families that have been gaslit, these doctors that have been gaslit or worse. We owe them a huge debt of gratitude. So my detox, gut healing, nutrition, and I was pouring vitamins into Bella. Well, you back off on the vitamins and you take care of bringing down the inflammation, and you move out heavy metals, yeast, parasites. I had biofilm. She wasn't healing. She looked like a burn victim. I have all the pictures. Oh, wow. She looked like a burn victim. She was in pain. And Cindy, I was losing her. She was going behind. She was slipping away. I know. I saw it. I was here every day, every minute of every second.
What was causing the burn?
That was really from, I think, just yeast overgrowth and candida. And the problem is she had biofilm. So a key with Cheryl pulling me in, Cheryl, if you're in this world, so we're biomed. I mean, I don't know what they called them way back when, but Autism One, have you heard of Autism One? It's gone now. Autism One was a big conference. I never made it. Cheryl did. Doctors, parents can present. This is what I'm Klinghardt, Dr. Klinghardt, all of these bigwigs, Mikovits, RFK Jr., all of these big people, Dr. Wakefield in the movement were there talking about things you could do to try to heal heal your child from these issues. So I never made it to one. I kind of regret that. But I learned, and I dove deep. And one thing that Cheryl and she kind of, again, took me under the wing, introduced me like, hey, this is our token Down syndrome mom that's questioning things. Although a lot of and I'll get to that too, a lot of our kids with Down syndrome there's actually a 2016, I just posted about it. 2016, 2017, the research came out. Down syndrome, because of the extra chromosome, and just physical things in their body, they have Swiss cheese is their blood-brain barrier. They don't have a typical blood-brain barrier. So that aluminum, that 250 micrograms, shot straight into Bella's head. Mm-hmm. It just did. It just did. And so they're already compromised. They're kind of the canaries in the coal mine. So, but when you get into the pediatrician's office, and you can watch my interview on the V bus that I did in 2016, they tell you, your kid's immune compromised. So you really need all these. It's the exact opposite of what the insert says. But anyway, so basically what happened with Cheryl.
Wait, back up. Yeah. Who's telling you this? Like the pediatrician is saying your kid's immunocompromised, so you all the more need to be jabbed.
Yes.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Which is the exact
opposite, right?
That you should get.
Right.
But I had some warnings. Kristen Morrison, it's on one page in her book because I went back. I had some little warnings, but until I talked to Cheryl, it wasn't there. And I know people knew, but that's why we have to talk about this. We have to, because last week, guess what happens? They call me now, or somebody tells me I can nail it. That's injury. That's injury. That's injury. That's not normal. What just happened to your kid? They shouldn't spike 105 fever and need to go to the ER. Not normal. Seizures, not normal. Not normal. So basically what happened is I got into that fold and she took me under her wing and my life forever changed. Parasites. Now it's kind of funny how parasites are now popular, but back then nobody was talking about parasites. And I have to give credit. I have a very, very best friend in the Down syndrome community here who is very wise, a homeschooler, 6 children, and she knew not to put those jabs into her daughter with Down syndrome. Mm-hmm. And she has been my partner. And we went into the parasite research and we just dove deep. But Cheryl was so great, Cindy. Like she messaged me, call me up. Okay. And this is part of our story. Okay. You're going to think this is crazy. And I never did anything like severe, but like herbs were a big thing for me. Homeopathy, all that. And I'm still doing it, still in there, still having, stuff. Always can be, because we're still getting bombarded with toxins. But she comes in, she goes, okay, hear me out. And I'm like, what do you got now? She goes, it's a foot bath. Do you know about the foot bath? It's called Ion Cleanse Foot Bath. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I know. So I own one. My parents own one. Some of my friends own them. I was like, okay, what is this? And she's like, you put the kid in this, it's basically you just put in water, feed in the water, and then there's like an electrode and it ionizes the water. And the idea is it doesn't like pull anything, but it relaxes the body. And the idea, as crazy as it sounds, is that it helps detox metals and parasites and whatnot. And it changes the color of the water. And there's a lot, big controversy over this thing. And it's money, but I trusted her and I thought,
where do you do this? Is this something you do at home or you go somewhere and have it done?
No, you can't. Places are doing it now. I just saw some place doing it locally. But like, okay, you know what infrared is, correct? Infrared sauna, same kind of idea. Like detox, infrared can detox like glyphosate even, I think. And we don't own an infrared, but some of my friends do. But it was something I could do. And Bella was small enough at the time. I got into that group and some people joined me. And I did the herbals, and you have to support, like you do have to know what you're doing. But honestly, I was working with the parents. Let me preface. I went to Functional Med in Cleveland. We do something called NATE. That's in Kristen's book. That's an allergy elimination that was kind of developed. It's a little, all the alternative therapies, they were the only thing I was seeing results with. So I did work with all the professionals, but the ion cleanse foot bath I did on my own with support on how to do that. So it helps open the detox pathways, but you support it with minerals and whatnot. I was doing this 3 and 4 nights a week. I would get Bella to bed. I'd pick her up. I had one of those Pottery Barn little chairs, asleep. She's asleep, and I'm putting her feet in. I was a crazy.
Did that not wake her up?
It was amazing. It was amazing. And she had to pull up because you think maybe she'll pee, but yeah, she had to pull up. It changed our lives. Her skin, I wasn't even on that. I think just going off all the meds and the herbs in the beginning cleared up the skin. But I started, like, her fine motor got better. We did start getting more speech. But the key is, it opened up a door for me into this whole world I didn't know about. Really, they were the biomed moms. So I had these Down syndrome moms that were doing things. And then I had this whole like autism world of biomeds, and autism one, where I would say really that was kind of, I mean, and trust me, like a lot of these spelling moms, they're all old, or previous biomed moms, or they're doing biomed stuff. There's Dr. Usman up in Chicago. I've got spellers going up there. I mean, Dr. Bogner in Detroit. Like, there are now MAPS doctors, but Cheryl's from the area that was the Dan doctor. Some of these terms, right? Defeat Autism Now, those doctors. And then there was Autism One. And then,
I've interviewed a couple of those doctors.
Yes. Excellent. Mm-hmm. And, but it connected me in a way. So I don't know how much you want to know about this story. So our board grew and grew. And
what board?
This Gemini board. So it's called.
There was a board.
Yes,
I'm thinking it's just a Facebook page.
It's a Facebook board. No, it's my board. It's my board. So it grew probably at its height, maybe pushing 8,000 people. Not huge, but I'm
thinking a board like in
Facebook board.
Like corporate, like you've got like,
So there's a Facebook group, maybe what do I want to say? Facebook group.
Yeah.
Facebook group called MK. It's called MK's Gemini and
MK for you. Okay, now I get it.
MK for, well, you're gonna find out why.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a reason. So I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm getting a little more speech, and I'm getting better fine motor. She doesn't have great handwriting, but she can write.
Mm-hmm.
And she's coming back to me, Cindy. She's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
She's present. There's more emotions. She's connected. She's connecting. And I'm sitting on my Gemini board, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to allow off topics on here. And I start writing about detox. And the injections. And I'm getting pushback. But Cheryl Bailey just saved my kid. And connected me to a world where I'm going to conferences, and I'm meeting Dr. Judy Mikovits, who also saved my family.
Yeah. Oh boy, did they do a number on her during
they did
during the pandemic. Oh yeah, they totally tried to
attack long
discredit her. Yeah.
Yes,
I had never heard of her until then.
Okay, so if you were in the Autism One biomed world, you knew about Dr. Mikovits.
I was not.
Yes.
Not until the pandemic.
Okay, understood.
Yes.
Yes.
So and actually that there were some videos that started circulating back then when we were all in lockdown.
Yes.
And a lot of people learned a lot of new things.
Yes, they did, didn't they? Yes, they did. I woke up further, but I was already,
you were already there. But
I was already somewhat there, but I woke up to other things. I actually learned more darkness. Really dark, but docs have connected so much since 2020. But so bottom line is, I get in this world, and we're doing these detox things, and I've got a bunch of Gemini people, and I'm telling my story in an off topic, and I'm getting pushback, and I get a phone call from the company.
Oh,
yeah, and very nicely, they say, Mary Kay, you have to stop talking about the injections and how they harmed your kid. And you have to stop everybody else from talking about it.
You don't work for them.
Nope, I don't work for you. So again, God,
yeah,
good thing I didn't work for them. And I wasn't working for anyone at that point. And I said, no, sorry. I said, I won't do that.
Yeah.
I said, the off topics remain. I said, what I will do if you want is I'll just get rid of the board. Oh, no. Nope. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. So they said, very nicely, very politely, they said, name it, put your name on it. I said, okay, we'll do MK's, Gemini, and Beyond board. And Cheryl and I made some posts and we had a mutiny. So there are a ton of people exited that did not want that discussion.
Okay.
And then we saved a baby. We had a baby on the board that got injured.
Oh.
Down syndrome. And our network saved that baby. Now that mom is not going to talk, and I respect that. But I have one. Now I say that because I should acknowledge I have others that have said, thank you for speaking, because it changed things for me.
Yeah.
But I know that kid was in trouble and we got some help. And I credit the autism moms because they will do that. They will circle, like people will never know. And it's really nobody's business, but it's real. It's real. It's real. But what I've done, so what happened to me is what I've done is I just can't be silent. I have to live with myself. So I have to allow the off topics. And am I as vocal as I was? No. Did I get trolled? Yeah. I mean, you take the hits, but you got to do it. I look at Cheryl and I mean, she's still got a story to tell. I do think, I feel like a book will come or something, but what she shared and what she went through, I said, Cheryl, I'm going to be sitting in the front row and there's going to be an auditorium of all the children you've impacted and saved and healed. She's had recoveries. I mean, she's helped so many, and she had such a tough road. But so anyways, so all this is, and you have to, let me preface on the ion cleanse. And, again, I'm not a medical, I have no medical background. You have to be careful with kids with seizures. I'll just say that. So you have to, I always preface with that. So,
wait, what are you saying? Kids with seizures shouldn't do the ion bath?
Yes. I'm not sure they should use, and I don't know because I don't want to speak for the company, but yeah, I would be very leery.
Okay.
Seizures are a whole nother thing, but I know Cheryl did use it on John. So when he had seizures, so yeah, you have to navigate that yourself. I would say warning, look into it. If you got
seizures. So do your research.
Do your research
on all of this. Something like
on all of it. Yeah. And again, I'm just saying what we did. But bottom line is I did not get the board wiped out. They have wiped out some things. But the board stood and I left it there, and the Gemini folks are still on there and they've been lovely to me, and the off topics are still there. A lot of them. I think they did delete some file. I don't know, whatever.
Wait, who deleted?
Facebook censorship.
Oh,
that's why you should
got it. Okay.
On Rumble.
So just you're my kind of girl, because I've been through some of the same stuff. Probably a good 10 years ago. That's when I put on my tinfoil hat and started looking into a lot of what people consider conspiracies that are not conspiracies.
Nope.
And I started posting stuff on Facebook.
Yes.
And
Did they slap you? Yeah.
And no, this is long before the pandemic. But I was posting things that I was finding out about Hollywood and the music industry.
Yeah, I'm down the same rabbit holes. Yes.
Right. And the meanings behind, just the album covers and the music and the songs and the MK Ultra and all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I started posting, and I was posting some graphic pictures too.
Yes.
And I got a phone call from someone from my church.
Okay.
And my church wanted me to stop posting these things.
Yep.
I was like, are you kidding? I'm exposing Satan.
Devil.
Basically, they're a bunch of Satan. They're a bunch of Satanists that are running these.
Yes. Well, who do you think is making who's making those?
But who do you, but you would think that the church would be okay with that,
Well,
but not
look
this
into
one.
look in the church, look into the church. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it really, and I know you've kind of said this, and I know I really will get to the spellers and that because I'll get that segue in. Sorry, if I'm going too long. It's really when you've been down a lot of paths, it really is as simple as good versus evil. We are in a spiritual war, and a
Right.
lot of us don't know it, but we are, and they're
So,
attacking our kids.
so 4 years ago, or maybe it was going on 5 years ago, when the pandemic and all this stuff, okay, I was on a kick, an anti-Bill Gates kick,
Sure.
and about how what he was doing in Africa, and he
Sure.
was, all these things that he was doing. So I was on the watch list, on the
Mhm.
Facebook watch list.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And then I made a comment on somebody's page and they said I was inciting violence and they took my page down.
Yes, they will. Yeah.
And along with other people were getting put in Facebook jail.
Yeah.
Anybody
They,
that was conservative, anybody
right.
that was, not politically correct,
Yes. Yes.
put it that way. They kept getting put in Facebook jail. Like one of my friends was a pastor, and all she did was post pictures of her whatever Bible verse she was reading every day.
Yeah.
Her page got taken down. She lost her page. She didn't even know what she did wrong. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, but the problem with it is I also had my Robbie page, my autism page, I had
Yeah.
thousands of followers, and my business page, I had thousands of followers, and all those pages got wiped out
Oh, no.
because of that censorship. And I had to
Yeah.
start all over
All over
again.
again. I'm so, yeah.
So at least you still have your page,
I
but
do.
but
I do.
but I'm the same way with you. Like that we had there's this strong sense of justice, and when you find out that something is wrong and that people are
Yes.
being
Yes.
hurt,
Yes. People
you
are being
have
hurt.
to do something about it. You just
Yes.
can't stay
What is
silent.
the quote? Yeah, if good people look away, yeah, you have
Yes.
to speak up. I can't be well, and that just funny with my family. It's like mom, like the topic of the jab comes up, and like my
Oh yeah.
friends kicking me under the
Oh yeah.
oh, it happens now. I work outside the home because
Well, I'm getting it now. Oh
mm,
yeah, my kids are like, "Oh, mom, come on, you're crazy. You're too much, blah blah
you're
blah." Right?
crazy.
Well,
Yeah,
so and
yeah,
now I'm on this spelling kick,
yes.
and where
Oh
that's all.
yes,
I won't
we're
shut
getting
up
there.
about it. I will not shut
Yes,
up about the spelling, and
good,
people think I'm,
good.
that, well, that's been discredited and you're too much, and that I don't care. I don't
No.
care.
So yeah, and I that's where I wasn't fitting into a lot of groups. Like they had a grandparent thing with the Down syndrome and they go talk at hospitals. Well, I did go to one of those for new parents. They do it for new parents that are
Hmm.
born with the little cuties with Down syndrome. And I was told, you cannot speak. And what did I do, Cindy? There's always a way. I had a sheet of paper like this with every alternative, every book, the Doman stuff, all the nutrition, the everything about the
Yeah.
injections. I'm so upset. There's a fabulous woman out of Buffalo, Lorette Janik. She did a fabulous presentation of what happens and why our kids are so susceptible to the jab. And I used to post it weekly. They wiped it out. I have a mom in
You post it
Israel.
weekly where?
It on Facebook.
Oh, and you mean Facebook
It was
wiped it out?
YouTube. No, everybody wiped it out. And I went to Autism One. I can't find it. I have a mom in Israel. I'm like, I went to Lorette. She's like, I don't have it. And
Hmm.
my interview, I'm going to give you a copy to that. You can link it. That is got wiped out. Thank God for RFK Jr. and Children's Health Defense. And you know about Doll, Big Tree, and the Tommies. And I've met all those, a lot of, not Doll, but some of those people. They had all our interviews, which is, I'll tell you, that's what I did. I watched it. Well, they ran on Periscope for a while, and I would watch all those interviews. That was from 2015 right up to the pandemic. And they wiped all that, but they saved it. Thank God there's a backup on Children's Health Defense because people should watch those. I mean, my husband would come in and he'd be like, why are you watching these? Why are you talking to these moms? Severe autism. And I'm like, because one, we need to honor. To me, we just said this, right, Cindy? Great point. We are in a war. It's a spiritual war. It's a war right here, and it's surfacing. Good versus evil. The Satanist, the devil, whatever you want to call it. Cabal, whatever you want to call it. We are in this war. Those kids, well, I don't know your whole story with Robbie, but John, my kid, my family, they're the injured. They're the kids from the 90s, the severe injuries after the 1986 and law and all that. They are the wounded warriors to me. They took the hit. A lot of these fellers, I'm not saying all, I'm not speaking for everyone. They are the wounded warriors. They deserve all of our respect, all of our honor. They took the hit. Mm-hmm. We're just lucky, the ones of us that didn't get as hard a hit. And now what's happening? What did God do? He took his broken and injured and he built his army.
You're just the first person with the Down syndrome kid that I've heard talk about this. It's always the autism community talking about all this stuff.
Yes. And Darcy, okay, so you want me to segue?
Except for Darcy Day, she is like battling.
The
community is always coming against her.
I know. So you want to segue into Darcy?
Sure.
She's going to bring it around.
Darcy, and for my viewers, I've interviewed Darcy. You can go back and watch my interview with her.
Love Darcy.
She's a ball of fire,
she's a ball of fire. So while I'm in this so I'm going to local town halls. I'm calling my school. I'm saying, don't take away my religious exemption. I see what happens in California. This is all 26. Now we're into 2015, 2016. I'm busy trying to heal up my kid as best I can. Oh, and then I accept fully she has Down syndrome. I knew at 13 weeks.
Yes.
I adore her. I don't care how many chromosomes. So just anyone who's going to attack me that I don't love my kid, I super love my kid. Mm-hmm. So I'm working on that. And then I'm not a rock star by any means. Let me preface that. We have incredible medical freedom people in the state of Ohio, and they have helped me tremendously. So 2016, the V movie come out. Okay. That's where the bus came and where my friend Jill and I interviewed on, and you can see both of those interviews. That was really a movement in and of itself.
Where can you see that movie?
Oh, I'll get you all that.
It hasn't been pulled down?
No, you can.
Well, I want to put it on the bottom.
Yep, I'm going to get you. I'll get you all that.
Want to see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I love one, and I've connected with you should watch Trace Amounts. Every person should watch Trace Amounts. It's one of my favorites. Okay. There's so many, but the V one is the one that really, I think, got the latest. So let me back up. There has been parents speaking out about this since the beginning of time, since the beginning of the program, right? Mm-hmm. So we are, and I would say I call myself like second generation. Cheryl's more that late 90s. Those folks, and there's Robin Goff, who's phenomenal. JB Hanley, who wrote Underestimated. Yeah. Do you know his End Autism Now? You've read that, right?
No, I only read
How to End the Autism Epidemic.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't read that one yet.
Okay, you want to read that. So JB's huge. And I know JB just via Messenger too.
Right.
Because I'll get to what I reached out to him. But basically, bottom line is.
But there's a whole lot of people out there and in the autism community too that do, as soon as you bring up his name or any of these people that we're talking about, they're going to write you right. They're going to turn this program right off. They're like, oh, nope, they're one of those.
Exactly. So, but to me, they haven't looked close enough. But everyone's got to go follow their own path. So basically, all that is going on, and I'm working to keep exemptions. I'm doing public school. I'm not homeschooling, and I've got other things going on in my family. And I'm like, okay, we got to protect the kids. And I'm watching all that. The movie comes out. We brought it to Cleveland. I'm in that group. I'm meeting Dr. Wakefield. I'm meeting Dr. Judy Mikovits. I'm going to all this. I'm learning, because everything you learn through. So JB Hanley, I read How to End the Autism Epidemic, and I'm in somehow I get in a little group, another little Facebook group, and I'm in there, and I'm like, thank you for doing everything you do, JB. You're amazing. And I've got this kid with Down syndrome, but she's injured, and he's an incredible man. He just is. he's going hard and fast with that. And occasionally we'd message, but people get burnout. Like even Robin Goff, like you kind of pull back because you're so beat up. Like that's the thing with Cheryl and you. Okay. I want to say something to all the audience that watches it. What Cindy's doing is incredible. Like your interviews have helped me and so many of us. Like you didn't have to do this. You could have walked away, but you didn't. That's what always amazes me. Cheryl could have walked away. She had an older kid, but she didn't. She's helping and to me, the new moms are phenomenal. I feel like they have some ways less information than I had because things have been censored. I have new moms coming to me all the time and I'm like, you guys are incredible. I learned from you. And they're like, well, I'm learning from you. And I'm like, that's what we do. It's like that meme where you get all this, you try to get help from the government or your school. Oh, fill out this form, put in for a ladder. You're in the hole. The other autism mom or Down syndrome mom jumps in with you and starts getting you out. That's what we do. So JB writes the How to End the Autism Epidemic. Loved it. Then he comes out with this book and I'm getting wind of this. And it's underestimated. Well, we all got it and we're pouring over it. I'm like, oh my God. And I have the non-speaker, right? She's got some, but very minimal, not much. So I'm out there and I'm like, okay, I got to find somebody. So I'm contacting IAS. I'm not getting anywhere and I'm back to work at this time. So I know I have to do it. It's again, a push. Like you have to do this. You have to figure it out. My husband Googles it. He's like, it's a scam. Maybe it works for autism, not for Down syndrome. So I'm messaging JB. I'm like, JB, just tell me straight. Ask Jamie, like, can this work for Down syndrome? He's like, Vayesh, Sid has Down syndrome and autism and he's spelling. And he was doing RPM. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. Vayesh was very kind to me. So one day in probably, it would have been 20, maybe end of 22, beginning of 23. So the book's out in like 21, people are getting started in 22. Fast forward to 23. And I'm working and I'm like, how am I going to, and I do find somebody, but I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. There was somebody in training around here in Cleveland. So I am convinced now I got to try this with Bella. So how does this work? So I'm on a board that's Down syndrome and autism. And out of nowhere, I see this Darcy Day. And she's like, my son Brady is doing, and she's going into this whole thing. And I'm like, oh, it's like a sign. I'm like, what? So I'm, of course, messaging her. And I'm like, first of all, how do I not know Darcy Day? But like you, I didn't know you because you weren't in the same circles. And Darcy, I don't know how Darcy and I didn't know each other, but Brady's older. So I'm like, Darcy, what is going on? And she's like, oh my God. She's like, you got it. And I'm like, well, here's my situation. And she's just like, I'm full out. I've got to practice. And I go, okay. And she's like, I can do remote, but it's better if you come here for an intensive. I like literally come out of the basement. My family they all think I'm crazy. They think I'm nuts. Although I think it's starting to shift a little. I don't know. They're just like, please don't talk about the jab. And then don't talk about my oldest is like, Mom, when you're talking about the parasite and the worms, it's really freaking people out. Like,
yeah.
It's gross. It's gross, but it's fascinating too. So I was like, okay, I gotta meet Darcy. So I'm like, can you call me? And I'm like, Darcy, I'm coming. I don't know how I'm coming. I'm coming. So this is 2023. I walk up from the basement. I look at my husband. I'm like, spring break, we're going to Arizona. My family loves to travel. They're like, all right, we're going to Arizona. So I friend Darcy. She's like feeding me all the information. And I'm like, wait. I go, I have this group of Down syndrome moms and this is fascinating. There used to be a track at Autism One that was Down syndrome. So there's others like me. There are others like me. I'm probably more vocal, but there are others like me that realize, they're in this niche of autism and the injuries going on and all this. So unfortunately that's where Laura Janik did her amazing work. So that track shut down. So they started what it's called Down syndrome options. I don't know if there'll be another one, but it's moms pulling it together. Do you know Rory Feek. He's like, he has a kid with Down syndrome. And that lovely country music star has a property. He hosted. So I literally am talking to Darcy Day, February 2023, and I'm figuring out how amazing she is and Brady is. She's like telling me, she goes, America, I didn't think he could count beyond 8. I didn't know he knew all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my gosh, you know? And she's like, I want to get the word out. And I'm like, Darcy, there's this conference. I'm not going, but a lot of people I know are going at this property. I don't need, is he in Tennessee? I think he's in Tennessee. He had a beautiful wife who passed away, unfortunately, from cancer, but had this baby. I can't think of her name. This young girl now, she's beautiful with Down syndrome. And I go, you need to talk to another friend, Andy Durkin, who has a blog and has done a bunch of stuff with her amazing son, who is, I think he might have both diagnoses, but Down syndrome and autism. Don't hold me to that. But anyways, she's very aware and she's very open. I get Darcy and Andy together. Darcy's on a plane in a couple of weeks doing the conference. And I'm like, yes.
Wow.
So I think overall it was a good experience. I think what's been frustrating for Darcy is like, she's like, okay, so, and I am 1,000% with Darcy. Down syndrome is not a cognitive disability. And I'm totally with her.
She says it over and over and over.
Over and over again. And I said to her recently, we don't talk that often, but we do chat. And I did have a great intensive and Bella spelled and it was all fabulous. And I said, Darcy, they don't believe you. What have we been told for all of time?
Absolutely. It's a developmental disability. Yeah. It's an intellectual disability.
Intellectual.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're fabulous. I'm coming out.
And now she's saying, no, it's not. It's apraxia.
Yes, it's apraxia and it's global. Bella is global. Oh, it took me 4 years to get the apraxia of speech. I finally got to someone. And my husband's like, why do we care? I'm like, well, it's in her IEP. They got her the device that she hates because they don't like the devices. Anyway, so long story short is I get to her, but as I'm seeing her on Facebook, I get this other name, my friend Jessica. And I'm like, oh my God, you know Darcy. You're doing spelling? Her daughter has autism, non-speaker. She's like on the east side of Cleveland. So I ping her and message her. I'm like, Jessica, do you know Darcy Day? And are you doing spelling in Cleveland? She's like, yes. I'm like, Jessica, can we talk on the phone? I had this awesome conversation. I got to her practitioner who we love. It's Access S2C, east side of Cleveland. And our world changed. So we go weekly. Bella is spelling. We are a very slow, steady progress. We are not like Brady and Darcy, but it's blossomed into a family. And now I have other Down syndrome moms. My brilliant best friend and another really good friend are going. My brilliant best friend, her daughter has speech, but it's unreliable, and she is blown away at what her kid is doing in spelling. So it's hard for people to get their minds around what it is. And it's so much more than, like, my mom's like, spelling is just, it doesn't give it enough credit. It's bypassing the disconnect. Mm-hmm. And they can do, I didn't know Bella could spell. I didn't know she could do math. I really did not know. I knew she could read. I knew she could read very young because of all the Doman stuff. And we do sign language, you know, her version. And I've told the school, it's listed on her IEP. I hope I told you, I mean, Dream is Speller School. Dream is some kind of social club. But bottom line is, it's been one of the best detox, healing, gut, all that, and spelling, best things we've ever done. But what I love about the group we go to, it's built a community. So these are Bella's like true friends. And this group is going into local elementaries, local autism groups. And about now, probably a month ago, they asked me, could I come? And this is poignant. This is Jessica's daughter and another speller got up and spelled in front of, it was Milestones is a big autism group in Ohio, in this area. They did a big conference, and they even had to go into a bigger room. They had so many wanting to see the spelling presentation. The two, Talia is another love. She's 24. Her mom is like, I saw them on their first day spelling. I said, it's a bet, you're going to love it. She said, I just met my daughter for the first time at 24. Talia is brilliant. She loves the color red. Her mom got her to Canada to see the snowy mountains. Like, phenomenal. Marissa is younger than Bella a few years. She's maybe, oh gosh, I'm going to say the wrong age. She's younger than Bella.
How old is Bella? 14?
Bella's 15.
15? Okay.
And there's another young speller who just turned 50. These are our friends. We do spelling group. Yeah. We see them. We're bonded. And Jessica changed my world
and these are spellers, so they're not all Down syndrome kids.
No, Bella, well, there's other with Down syndrome, but Bella was maybe an initial one of, and so we're about 2 years in, but we're doing this presentation as a
Is she open yet or no?
No, so I will say that again. We don't do anything rock star. And I'm not practicing, Darcy would yell at me. I'm not practicing as much as I should, but she's slow and steady, and we have the eye stuff and we have the ear. Like, okay, so let me back up. So I'll go back to the first session. My mom goes with me. 3 times I cried. I did not know she could do this. I didn't, but they don't even look at her as with Down syndrome. They just say, that's a non-speaker. I know she can do it. I don't know how many words, but a significant number of words she spelled. And my mom is an English teacher, retired. Bella has hearing aids. Bella's eyes, not good. We've done vision therapy. We have issues there. She's spelling these words. And my mom's looking at me and I'm like, I don't know how she's doing it, but I think we are starting to know how they're doing it. She's operating. And I said to Leanne, as our practitioner, I said, Leanne, you're so quiet. I'm so loud. I go, I don't know if Bella will hear you. She brought her voice up a little bit. Calm, Bella. Mrs., but spelling. Like, you could not deny what I saw in that first session. And it's just improved from there. But we're still a ways. My thing is, I told Darcy, I don't care how long it takes. I'm never letting go of this. As long as I can, I'm never letting go of this. And we have the boards. I spelled with her.
She's an unreliable speaker, you said.
She is minimal, all of it, probably. Unreliable, minimal, you can't understand her. So she talks, but a lot of it you can't, like tonight she was telling me a song.
Well, that on top of the hearing.
Yeah, she got a lot going on. But so we do this, Access S2C does this presentation at John Carroll University, which is where my husband went to school. And I'm sitting in the audience and we're going through the whole thing. And these lovely kids are answering questions. So the other thing you realize, the more you learn, and I'm sure you've heard this from others, there's a lot going on. Like, Bella is not ready to spell in front of anyone. And Darcy coached me on that. These girls, and they're dysregulated, but like, they calm themselves, they do it, and they want to do it. Like, they're letting these parents know. So I'm sitting there in the audience, and I'm not a public speaker at all. It's not my thing. I'm outgoing, but I don't know. I get nervous. I raised my hand and I said, Darcy, I think I had you on my shoulder, like, get up and say Down syndrome. And I love Tommy in one of your lemonade things said Down syndrome. I love that. I stood up and I said, my daughter doesn't have Down syndrome, or doesn't have autism. She has Down syndrome and she's spelling. I said, we are slow and steady progress. And I just kind of gave a spiel. As I'm saying this, and I'm wrapping up and I'm explaining these kids are in there, all of them, including the ones with Down syndrome. The intelligence is there. And I'm shaky and I'm quieting down and I'm kind of wrapping up. And there's Marissa, Jessica's daughter, at the front table. And she's typing out. And her practitioner, Samantha, who I love too, hits the button. Bella is one of my best friends. And I'm like, oh my God. And then afterwards, Cindy, we're mingling around and I just thanked them for bringing this. And a lot of parents wanted to come up and talk to us. Because again, it's hard for people to get their head around. Marissa comes up very quietly and very gently on my cheek, a little kiss.
Oh.
They know, they know everything. They know everything. And I was like, so again, like, I don't know. You just,
Wait a minute. Marissa that said she's one of her best friends. Do they go to this social
yes,
group together?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And we do birthday parties, and they're her friends. Those are
Yeah.
her true friends.
Right.
And now they have this spelling in common. And Bella's not to the level that they're at, but it doesn't matter. Well, you learn, what have we learned? Through Katie. Now we'll get to this. Through Katie, Libby. What are we learning? They are connecting.
I was gonna ask you about the T word.
Okay. So
Are we seeing telepathy in the Down syndrome kids as well?
again, maybe I'm trailblazing here. So I can talk about this. I'm not a practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't work for anybody in this realm. I do work, but not for this realm.
But they can't shut you up.
No, they can't shut me up. So one part of my story was I was very pregnant. I'm technically on bed rest, but I'm sitting in what is Bella's room. And then Bella's, my big belly's out, and I'm hands on, I'm praying over Bella. And I know she has Down syndrome. And I'm asking God, could we just fix this? Could we just take this away? I know life's not going to be easy for Bella. I'm sorry, my body, my guilt, my body did this. And I'm very quiet and I'm deep in prayer. And this is the only time it's ever happened. I hear her voice, Bella's, and it says, Mommy, I'm okay. And it's very clear. Just let me come.
Wow.
I never had a word for that. That's telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
That's meeting her somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
After she was born, she was connected to the other side. I don't tell too many people either of those stories. I could see it because and it chokes you up, like how she looked at me, like, you saved me. And it was a connection and a love that's another level. Like, it's not of this world, and you know it. And then fast forward to 5 years old, when I started detoxing her, it was that kind of same look. I never heard in my spirit, right? Mm-hmm. To be honest, I don't love the telepathy word. Right. I think a lot of people get freaked. Mm-hmm. But I saw the telepathy tapes come out. I have to be honest, I didn't jump on it right away. Mm-hmm. Got good advice. Someone said, watch it from the first episode on. I've watched every Kai Dickens, Dr. Diane Powell, every interview I can with anybody related. Kai Dickens is a real deal. Her heart's in the right place. I love Katie Asher. I love Libby. Tani, I love. I've got some of the books. I haven't read all of them. They're not lying.
Yeah, Josiah's Fire is a good one.
Yes, I need to get that one. I have the one with
that one's a lot shorter and easier to read.
Katie's, I love
Connie's is this. Katie's is like that thick.
I have it, but I'm gonna listen.
When it arrived and I saw how big it was and how tiny the print was, I was like, "Holy crap! It's gonna take me a year to read this." But it's so good that I couldn't put it down.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I think she has audio's coming out, but no, bottom line is it opened like a whole nother world. So I always joke, because my best friend here, local, that's in the Down syndrome community, I always say I'm the crazy one that'll just look, I tell them, I'll look at this stuff. You guys don't have to. Like, I'll let you know. And I told Katie, you are a skilled teacher. I have learned more about global apraxia through your interviews. And she says she's giving credit God and Houston. Yeah. And I'm like, these kids are the experts.
She's brilliant.
She's brilliant. Mm-hmm. And I said, but you're skilled at I'm like, she's explained stuff about the hearing and the vision. I'm like, that's Bella. Like, anyways, so it's opened. It's like God is a good gift giver.
Yeah.
God keeps giving us gifts. So my message to anyone.
And one of them is your daughter.
Oh my God. She is the real deal. She is a hoot. And I keep saying, oh my God, wait until she will not have a filter. no filter. But like, yes. And that's what drives you is like, and the practitioners are great. And they're like, she's going to get there, and she's had like plateaus, but I think consistency and just, you keep going, even when you think you can't. I think when I need to get a message, it comes through, but I can't say, I mean, we're on the telepathy level necessarily, but I can say she's full blown global apraxia, and the help I'm seeing from these spellers and their explanations are amazing. Like, it's just, it makes me understand. So, and that's what Darcy said too. Like, and I've apologized. A lot of us apologize to our kids, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Bella. I was always your cheerleader. I knew you were smart. I had people telling me you were smart. I didn't know you were this level. Right. Like, I didn't. Right. And I don't know. But I think for like a parent, you want to open this door. So like, I can figure out, what does she want to, what are her dreams? Right? What are her dreams? What are her hopes? What does she want to do after school, or, any of that? But
I want to wrap it up. So are there any final words that you would have for parents out there, especially parents with Down syndrome?
Definitely, if you have a child with Down syndrome, you need to research the injections. You need to be aware your child does not have much blood-brain barrier, and things in those are getting into the brain. So I would definitely and each one, it doesn't limit. I mean, each one, research them all, make your decision, but informed decision. Our kids are compromised, and that I do have on my, I can share that, and I can share that in the board too, of the 2016 and 2017 immune dysfunction of Down syndrome. That I will say. If your kid is sounding sickly or whatever, there are things you can do. There are practitioners to work with. There are gentle ways to do a lot of things that the autism parents are doing, and it's helping our kids. Don't think if your kid, oh, well, my kid has Down syndrome, he doesn't have autism. But they might have gut issues. They may get a ton of ear infections. They may have a ton of snot. I am going to share with you my interview on the bus, because watch that interview. That has some information in it.
Okay.
The third and final piece is, your child is not, I believe, is not cognitively disabled. I have not, all the kids I know that are doing Down syndrome with Darcy Day or in our local Access S2C Cleveland area, these kids are spelling. They're all spelling. And they're not showing cognitive impairment. I guess I'm fourth. There's no harm in trying it, or just going to see it.
What, spelling?
Yes, spelling. Yeah. Like, why not?
It's right. That's what I keep saying to everybody. Just try it. What do you have to lose? Nothing.
You have nothing to lose. And so, okay, so I'll give this full transparency. My husband, we are totally, my daughter, my oldest, calls us the sun and the moon. I think I'm the sun, but it's like, we're different. He Googled it, and now what he kind of says is, I can see it working for autism, but not for Down syndrome. It doesn't matter. He doesn't need to believe it. What he does appreciate, and what something is special, and I think is happening in a lot of these cities, a community is being born. I will say this, our spelling family, they are family. I finally have found a home. In all the different groups I've been in, it's home. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you got to get, I would say, watch spellers, educate yourself on spelling, and then go see a session. Go.
Right. I would say, do not Google.
No,
you will see all the garbage that Asha has put out there.
I got one more thing.
But you want to just,
yes,
go to a practitioner and go watch it and try it. And if you haven't seen the Spellers movie, watch that first.
And I do want to mention this, because I have a huge thing with this. There's been a controversy over spelling, even from what I saw in the institutes, and something called facilitated, and they can look on my board, or you can look on the spelling board, facilitated communication, and then RPM, and then spelling to communicate, and then spellers. There's a whole story there. Mm-hmm. Rosemary Crossley, look her up. She's phenomenal. In the 70s, she's Australian. We lost her maybe last summer. Darcy Day, I never got to her. I messaged her on Facebook. Darcy Day had several conversations. To me, she deserves huge credit. She worked with a young woman, and there is a movie, but it's hard to see the movie. I think you can pay money to see it. It used to be free. I sent it to people. Annie's coming out. And Rosemary Crossley out of Australia has a book called Speechless. Again, all of this is hard to find now, unfortunately. She really was a trailblazer, and we owe her so much gratitude. And Darcy spoke with her. She knew how intelligent the Down syndrome community is, and she had several spelling. And she's more, I would say she's kind of the outgrowth of facilitated, but to me, it's just versions. And I'm with Libby. Who cares if they need a little help? Like, come on, do whatever you got to do. But that got attacked. I think one bad story, and then they stifled it for how many years? Mm-hmm. I do like the spellers method and spelling to communicate. You know, I align with all that. And I like the boards, and Bella is on a board, and that all's good. Bella's using her finger now, but you know, it's, I just try it. You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And here's what I'm going to tell you. It shifts something, because I apologized to Bella. I looked her in the eye, and now I'm like, I know how smart you are. You know what I tell her, Cindy? I look at her, I'm like, you're the smartest kid in that school. I mean, and she looks, and she got a little look, Mom, no, you are. Maybe the whole district. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But do they call me crazy? So I'm sitting, last story, I'm sitting in an IEP meeting, and she's not using her device as well as they want her to. They bring in the big guns with the device, who has a non-speaker, who is on a device, sitting in this big table. And they already think I'm crazy, because I brought Gemini into the school, and I told them we never did PECs. I told them, give her the word. She knows the word. We did WEX. They adjusted. They thought I was nuts. They knew I wasn't happy with the cognitively disabled label, which is how she's labeled on the IEP. I'm sitting at this table. My husband lightly knows I'm into spelling. And this big guns is in, because they want us to, you know, get her use the talker. And she wants me to meet her son and the talker and everything. I said, well, actually, we're working with spelling to communicate. And this woman, the eye roll, she wanted nothing. She didn't badmouth it, but she wanted nothing to do with it. The rest of the table had no idea what it was. I've invited them to see the movie. I've invited them to observe. No takers yet, but we'll get there. It might take a while, but we'll get there. I have parents. I have coworkers watching spellers, crying. I have a parent, a marching band parent, watched it, sent it to the special needs educator. And I'm hoping to get access.
So they don't use spelling in her school?
No.
I
wish. Well, I love what Casey.
Someday.
Yeah, someday we'll get there, but we just got to chunk away. But it doesn't stop me. I mean, but if I could have a half hour in school every day, Cindy, she would be open.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not there. Anyways, okay, sorry. I'm a talker.
All right, we gotta wrap it up.
Yep.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for telling us your story. Fascinating, from the Down syndrome perspective.
Down syndrome mama.
Yeah.
I call us triple crowns. We're triple crowns.
Oh, there you go. Love it. All right, Mary Kay, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed listening and it helped you gain a new perspective. To learn more about our children's book series, Robbie's World and His Spectrum of Adventures, or to learn more about what we do at Robbie's World Foundation, simply visit our website at robbiesworldbook.com.
Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to join us again on our next episode of Spectrum Perspectives.